All righty, everybody should be joining here. Hello, everyone. As you join, welcome to the Life Reawakened Show. We're here with Morgana Rae. Say hi to Morgana so everybody can see you.
Oh, I'm supposed to say hi.
Yeah, because the speaker's screen is what shows. So say hello.
Okay. Hello. Hi, I'm here.
Awesome. Hands are already raised. You guys know the drill. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Type in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. I see Barbara. Hello, Barbara. We have a abundance topic today, a money topic. Everybody's favorite thing to talk about is money, especially these days. So I'm so happy to dive into this. We have Carmen from Santa Fe, Tina from Missouri, Muna from London, Marita from Sweden, Anita from Florida. Welcome, welcome. Well, now they're all flying
And
in with,
Anne from Norway. I've been to Sweden and Norway. Beautiful, beautiful countries.
oh, very nice. Yeah. And Texas, California. We are all over the place. India. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So happy to have you here. We're going to be, Morgana's going to be working a lot, or talking to you guys a lot one-on-one. So if you want to get in line and raise your hand, you can hit the reaction button and raise your hand that way so you can get in line there. So if you guys have not been on a call yet, on a Life Reawakened call yet, it's highly engaged. So we love comments. Keep the comments coming. Keep the thumbs up and the hearts, and give us feedback so we know what we're talking about is resonating with you, or if there's another direction that you want to go, we can do that too. So Barbara says, wonderful topic, hoping to learn how to hold on to money. So awesome. I think that a lot of people would be interested in that today. So
And Barbara, what I want for you, even better than holding on to money like some boyfriend who's trying to escape, is I want you to have a relationship with money who cannot get enough of you and
ooh,
wants to be with you all the time.
feel that difference? I feel that just by you saying that. That's huge. So what a difference that is. So let's officially get started. And for those of you that don't know Morgana Rae, it's been a while, I think, since you've been on From Heartache to Joy. So so happy to have you back here, Morgana. And for those of you that don't know her, Morgana is a 20-time #1 international best-selling author of Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. She has been a 7-figure spiritual life and business coach for over 30 years. Morgana has guided tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, artists, healers, and humanitarians to heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money to save the world as only they can. Morgana's groundbreaking approach to attracting money like a lover has featured her on all the major television networks, United Press International, Yahoo Finance, The Wall Street Journal, and hundreds of others. She's the money manifestation expert on Coast to Coast Radio. As a thought leader on the topics of wealth and relationships, she's been a featured expert on stages with Deepak Chopra, Ariana Huffington, Bob Proctor, and many others. Morgana's fans call her the money goddess because of the many documented stories of clients making unexpected income of 5, 6, and even 7 figures within hours of changing their relationship with money. Cumulatively, her clients have made hundreds of millions of dollars. Morgana's financial alchemy books, recordings, magazines, articles, and classes have impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. And guys, she's here with us today. How awesome is that? With a topic, Awaken to Abundance, Make Money Fall in Love with You. So officially welcome, Morgana. So happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here too, and I can't wait to meet the people who are with us today.
Awesome. So, before we get started, I know that you mentioned that as soon as you start talking, there's activations flowing and all that good stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Well, I learned many, many years ago that when I coach and when I speak, I have the impact This is what clients have been telling me for decades of an energy healing. So that is sort of one of my modalities for creating change. So it's very, very common when I do just a free interview that I will get emails back from people. There was one woman who was stuck and without a job for years, and she heard my interview and followed my process for slaying her money monster and meeting her money honey, and she went to a job interview the next day and got a job. And I've had people, it's really common to have somebody write to me and say that they made $10,000. There's kind of a funny thing about that amount. When I first started doing this, it was 2,000. That's the number that kept coming. But as I do it and I get better and better and better at it, the numbers just get bigger and bigger, and more people that I've coached have made millions and tens of millions of dollars. So where I want to begin is there is a lot of very well-intentioned, not helpful nonsense in the personal development space, which has a tendency to, and by the way, this is not new. This goes back to the book of Job in the Bible, where all these horrible things happened to Job, and all of Job's comforters, that's what they're called in the Bible, the comforters, are saying to Job, wow, Job, you must have done something terrible for all these terrible things to happen to you. When we, the observers know that he didn't do anything wrong. So I want to remove from our conversation that if you are struggling financially and you have drama and you have anxiety, that I want to remove the idea that it's because of your low vibrations. Because actually, I'm going to use all that really low negative stuff, and it's going to be so useful. So any victim experience you've had over the course of your life, you've already paid the price of admission with your pain, and now we're going to actually use it. So we don't need to like remove or cut off or cut you off from any part of you or your life experience. So that's a really big one. I also don't subscribe to this notion that you are your own worst enemy or you're a self-saboteur. Cancel, cancel, cancel. That's not possible. The prime directive of every human being is that everything about you exists to protect you. So any negative challenge that you have is actually, even when you do things that you wish you didn't do, there's always a really good intention behind it. So you are on your team. It's just that, maybe some of the behaviors and patterns that kept you alive when you were younger are not helpful now. So instead of making anything wrong or making you wrong, we're going to maybe very gently go, Marie Kondo, thank you for your service, and we don't need this anymore. So that's how I like to approach change. Ultimately, because I've coached thousands of people over 30 years, and the only reason I focus on money is because money is the number one excuse that human beings give for what we can't have, do, or be. But spoiler alert, I'm a life coach. It's just that what I do, my clients make a lot of money, but they also attract their life partners, or they fall back in love with their life partners. I've also had some really dramatic, spontaneous healing. So because they're, money, love, and health, I consider the three great teachers that invite us to our evolution. They're the pain, and there are three doors into the same room, which is our relationship with existence. And that's what I'm really going to be talking about. Money is just such a hot area of pain that it is a great door into transformation. So the biggest thing I want you to take away, besides the process, is this idea. Change happens at the speed of safety. If you are doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and you're taking the classes and you're reading the books and you're hiring the coaches and you're putting things into action and you are not seeing results, you're doing all the right stuff, something about what you want is not safe. And I can almost guarantee that what isn't safe is not even anything you're consciously aware of. Like, why would I protect myself from money? I'm speaking from personal experience because I was my first, experiment with what I'm going to teach you now. Change happens at the speed of safety. If something isn't changing, something is not safe yet. So our job as human beings, when we are stuck and it's not making sense, whether it's money, love, health, career, whatever, our first job is to get curious about what we're protecting ourselves from that we haven't been aware of. So quick, like I'm going to try to go through my own tale of woe really, really quick to give you some context. So I was telling Gretchen when we first got on the Zoom before we went live that I am in the process of moving, which is the thing I hate most on earth. I was never going to leave this house. I'm in my dream house. I love my house in Long Beach. There not a day has gone by in the 9 years that I've been here that I haven't said, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I've named all the feral cats I feed at the back door, the ones that I haven't brought indoors and adopted, which are 5. And doing this process, applying it to a recent trauma, which was my mother's death, and that was a very complicated relationship, is to put it euphemistically. I manifested a new house that I can't say no to, in a neighborhood that I can't say no to. And it's crazy. I can't believe it. This is probably my biggest manifestation to date. And it came out of the blue and I didn't see it coming. And it was still a hard choice, but it was so obvious that I couldn't say no. And this was not on the radar when I scheduled this. And this is the last week I'll be able to do any, any like Zoom interview for a while. Where I am now, I've made millions of dollars. I'm known worldwide. I'm happily married, getting married 100 times in 100 countries to one guy because I also slayed my love monster. That's another story. Where I began. Back in March of 2003, I'd already been coaching 7 years, and I had coached a bunch of entertainment industry writers, producers, directors, actors, celebrities. I had mountains of testimonials. I had the website, I had the brochures, I had the taglines, I had all the stuff. I had about a dozen certifications, lots and lots of results. And drum roll, please, I was making $100 a month living in Los Angeles.
Wow.
While doing everything. And I was living on credit card debt. I was borrowing money from family. Talk about not making sense. And I kept taking classes. In fact, I was taking so many classes that I was starting to take classes teaching me to do what I was already doing. And I was doing it all well. And I was public speaking. And I had a reputation. People wanted to hire me. And it was like I had superhuman powers of money repulsion. I cannot stress enough how insane and impossible this was. I was doing everything. And I even took this class on overcoming sales objections, where they teach you the magical words. If somebody says, oh, I'd love to work with you, but I can't afford it or I don't have time. There are endless classes. I think you can just look it up online now and probably get scripts for free that tell you what to say. And I'm a good student. I was hit by a car and in a coma and then woke up with a traumatic brain injury and still graduated high school as a National Merit Scholar, even with a brain injury. So when it comes to learning scripts, 20 years later, on it. And I was such a good student that 7 people in a row, I overcame their objections, and 7 people in a row did not show up for our first coaching session and didn't pay me.
Wow.
And that was the moment that I fell apart. And I remember being in my little 1-bedroom apartment that I couldn't afford and being in my bedroom and just the rage and the heartbreak when I was stood up that 7th time. And this was like my last gasp of hope. And it was really crazy because I got such good results for people. First, new actors getting primetime TV series. I just had a magic touch. I knew how to connect people. Things happened. People were winning awards, selling films. And I couldn't make a living at it. I finally knew what I was good at. So when that 7th person didn't show up and there was just nothing left to do, I had done everything my coach told me to do. That I had a coach when I can't make rent is crazy enough. And I just remember being in my bedroom and dragging close those blackout curtains, encrypting out the room and getting on my bed and just screaming and crying and raging and just feeling so rejected by life and so frightened and so angry. And I felt like the universe was sadistic and hated me and was punishing me and messing with me. And I hated the universe back. And I really didn't see how I could live. And I didn't want it. I didn't want to be here. I don't want to be somewhere that I'm not wanted. And that's where I was, a really dark place. So the whole money thing, it's not just that we need it to eat and have shelter and get medical care and clothe ourselves. But there's also this really deep existential, am I valued? Am I lovable? Am I wanted? Am I safe? The real primal questions and pains of human existence. So I cried and I raged and I just poured it all out until I was empty. And I had two thoughts when I just cried myself out. And the first thought was, well, maybe money needed to be my next area of spiritual growth. And then maybe I could deal with it. If I hid money in the spiritual box, maybe I'd be willing to, deal with it. Because I'm from LA and spirituality comes easy to us. So maybe if I hide the money in spirituality, then it also made sense. But that isn't what shifted me. What set the ground for the shift was the next thought, which was, I wonder what is going on inside of me that can't be with money. Because Ivy League education, certifications, great client results, testimonials, marketing, like all of it, right? Something did not make sense. The people that I graduated from coaching school the first time with, my clients were having bigger results, but they were living in houses and I couldn't afford my apartment. So here's where things changed in my story, March 2003. I had a call with that coach who I actually graduated from coaching school with, and he had the house and I didn't. And I was doing everything he told me to do for months and nothing was changing. It wasn't moving the dial, not his fault. But on this call, when I am such a good, I'm such a good client. Yes, coach, I'll do it. And I would do it and nothing. This call, I just showed up in my despair and disgust and rage and hopelessness, which for every healer watching, that that's when we come alive as coaches, when our clients bring us a mess. So I showed up just a hopeless wreck of a mess. And he asked me a question that he had never thought of before, that he had never asked before, and it completely changed my life. And it worked because I was in so much pain at that moment. So he asked me, if your money was a person, who would your money be? That's a totally intuitive, right brain, drop deep into the deep end of the pool kind of question. Because as soon as he asked me that question, instantly I saw that money, in that moment of time, my relationship with money, my money was this big, scary, dirty, violent biker dude, terrifying, all bad, hated me, wanted to do me harm. No insult to bikers. This one was really, really bad, like bald, long sideburns, the tattoos, the wife beater. And I had this flash of imagination that we were at a live event and I had my eye on him all the time to create maximum distance between the two of us. And that was my big aha moment. I was protecting myself from money with every cell of my being. And I never knew it because I was doing all the things to have money, but it didn't matter because I was protecting myself from money as if my life depended on it. Now, there are very good reasons, things that happen in childhood that, created beliefs, but it's the monster, and I'll go into this a little deeper. You will never, ever, ever find your money monster in your money story. The money is the symptom, not the cause. And change your money story, change your life, great marketing. That has never worked in my experience. It's always so much deeper if you want change to stick. So anyway, I'll go back to that, but my story. So very clear that there was no way I could have money in my life if it was the biker. No way, he wasn't going to change. So I had to end that relationship and get rid of him. Biker be gone. And I'll go in more depth on how to do that too. But so suddenly I'm without the biker and I'm without the relationship with money I've known my whole life that I never knew was there, like a fish in water. And I can feel the absence. And that's so there's kind of that moment of, yay, the monster is gone. And oh, heck, I live in LA and I have no relationship with money, and that's not going to last. And I didn't want the biker to come back. So I needed a new relationship with money. And I asked myself, and this is really important, the phrasing of this question, who could I want so much in my life that I could have this person in my life, even if it's money?
Can you repeat that?
Who could I want in my life so much that I'd be willing to have this person in my life, even if it's money? Because my relationship with money, up until then, the only relationship with money that I knew, even though I was completely unaware that it was my relationship with money, but my relationship with money had been rejecting and soul crushing, had broken up my family, caused fights, caused wars, caused genocide, caused pollution, caused all sorts of terrible things in the world. And if you've ever had if you've ever had a really bad breakup, like with a really bad lover, you don't want to go there again, right? So this is the part of the movie where you get the bad haircut. Instead, just get rid of the monsters. So I was not, if honestly, I was like, oh, if I didn't have to have any relationship with money, that would be so much easier. I can just heal people, right? I'm sure I'm the only one who's ever had that thought in the history of Life Reawakened. So it had to be somebody who was inherently so wonderful and wantable that I could overlook that this person was money. And as soon as I asked myself that, my overactive imagination of that moment, I suddenly saw this new person. And in this instant, this person was tall, dark, handsome, cute, sweet, clean cut, very romantic, dressed up in a tuxedo, holding a bouquet of red flowers, as if he's going to take me out to the theater, and wanted to woo me. And I could feel how much he loved me. And that was really shocking because I had never had that experience, that thought of money loving me. Money was always avoiding me, but now money wanted to be with me. Now that the monster was gone, it was this really sweet, loving, romantic person who wanted to be with me in a really huge way, which created a new problem, which is I had no practical experience of allowing money to be with me when money wants to be with me. I had exercised these really strong muscles to protect myself, and now I didn't really know how to allow money in. So I asked. That's the nice thing about having money be this very real feeling human being. And so I asked, and money in that moment said, when I said, the question I asked is, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me? And very quickly, because sometimes people hear this wrong. In fact, I have a huge fan on YouTube who did a whole video about this, and she got it completely wrong. Love to her, but I want you to get it right. You do not need to do anything to get your money honey's love. That's what I called a new relationship with money. I call it your money honey. This relationship with money, your money honey loves you more than everybody in the world, chooses you, exists to be in relationship with you, loves you, looks at you and sees a divine, gorgeous goddess worthy of every happiness and wants you to know that. So you do not, love is unconditional. You don't need to earn that. Presence is totally conditional because you have a body and you have the ability to push money away. So when I ask the question, what do you need from me to allow you? It's because I have so much power and I've been pushing money away. So, but I also have no freaking clue. I'm completely dumb and ignorant in this regard. Like, how do I allow money to be with me the way money wants to be with me? It's feeling like, whoa. So I asked. And in that first conversation, money said, I need you to love me. And it was just such a sweet, humble, vulnerable statement. Like, You're breaking my heart. I need you to love me, and I need you to stop treating me like a monster. Those are the two things. Love me and stop treating me like a monster. If anybody's thinking the love of money is the root of all evil, I've got a couple of things to say about that, because I think that needs to be addressed. First of all, in ancient Aramaic, that's not what it said. I have a girlfriend in England who took a class in ancient Aramaic and reported back to me. What the original translation said is the worship of money will cause you problems. And I will say, yeah, okay. No contest there. The other thing I want to say is love is not evil. Love does not exploit. Love does not, love is not jealous. Love is not envious. Love is not mean. Love is not fearful. Love is not scarcity. The biggest, love does not exploit. Love does not harm, hurt. It's love. Love is generous. Love is expansive. Love is noble. Love is divine. Love is you being your best self. So you are not choosing money over people. In fact, when you have a money honey, you now have a relationship with money that rejects all the things you reject and shares your values. And if you want to save the world, your money honey wants to save the world too, and wants to help you do that. So you no longer need to protect yourself from money, because you're not at war. So when money says, I need you to love me, it's coming from a very kind, healthy place.
I love
so that
that.
money can be with you. It's kind of like, and also whenever I talk about relationship with money, I'm really talking about relationship with life. Money is just an aspect of life that needs our love and healing. So it's useful for me. When I say ours, I'm saying me. I call this my money honey, because money is an area of life that continually needs my own love and healing over and over and over again. And that's not a bad thing, because every time I slay a monster, I have a deeper relationship with the money honey. And I've gone years and years without slaying a monster. And then I've gone through periods where it's like, oh my God, every few weeks, every month, like something comes up. And it just accelerates my evolution faster. That's actually how the house manifestation happened, is I slayed a new monster, a really big one. And then a couple hours later, I get my husband walks in and tells me about this offer. And it's like, let me think about it. Okay, so I have this conversation with my money honey, and we're wrapping up to the end of the story, and the 6 steps of the process are embedded in the story, and I'll point them out to you in a second. So money wants me to love him and stop treating him like a monster, which seems really, really fair, because he's this lovely, sweet guy and cute, which is important to me, who wants to be with me and wants me to stop being really abusive and rejecting, right? Okay, that's a deal. Fair. What does that look like? And I suddenly had this moment of like awareness of how, when people wanted to hire me, and people knew about me and wanted to hire me, and that moment would come up where they would say, how do you work? Which took me 7 years to figure out that is code for what do you charge. They don't want me to explain how I make the sausage. I was like so slow to figure that out. So literal minded. Or what do you charge? And I would go, because it was like I had this huge, stinky, scary monster that I didn't want anybody to know about. And so much guilt and shame about charging money when I just want to help. I don't want to cause harm. And I felt like I was taking their money, and I was so afraid of causing harm. And how that felt to this beautiful guy who just wanted to be with me. So I made a deal. That next time he brought me a present, I would say thank you, because that's all he wanted. And what that would probably look like is bringing me somebody who wants to hire me. And instead of talking them out of hiring me and all the weird shit that I was doing, I would just say thank you. And that would look like, this is what I charge, with the energy of he's lovable, right? And then let them make a decision like an adult, which took me a very, very long time to figure out. But here's the punchline. The funny thing is over the next few days, 4 people hired me at double what I'd ever charged in my life.
Wow.
Like immediately starting the next day. And the first time somebody called me and wanted to hire me, I could feel like everything in my body wanting to give them a sample session, talk them out of it. And all like it was just like, the sense memory. And I'm observing myself like I'm watching a car crash in slow motion. And I'm stopping because money is this lovable guy and I'm not going to do that to him. So I'm not going to be ashamed of the fee. And I stated the fee. And then I did the thing that is hardest for me of all things, which is I shut up. Because when they get silent, that means they're just figuring out how to pay you. So I had to literally, even though I'm on the phone, it was like I had to bite my tongue. I felt like I was sitting on my hands and I was just white knuckling the silence part. And then being okay with people sending me checks. It was so uncomfortable because of like all these years of habit. And then, but the next call was uncomfortable, but less uncomfortable. And by the third call, I was like, okay, I think I'm getting this. And by the fourth call, I'm getting better. And then they just kept coming and coming. And I've made millions of dollars since. And I lead my ultimate money goddess retreat in Bali, which I'm doing next month. It is my top millionaires maker where like Perry had zero and had to borrow the money to go to Bali with me and then made over $12 million the following 3 years. And she's getting married in 2 months at 65.
Wow.
And I've got so many stories like that. And if you are in right now that really painful, stuck place, that scarcity, that oh my freaking God place, the abyss, congratulations. And I say that because it makes the process so much easier. It's like it's accessing the monster is just so much easier because we don't have to dig that deep. What I just described, and I'll tell you the 6 steps, is I call it financial alchemy because alchemy is the transmutation of lead into gold. So all that lead in human experience suddenly becomes the fuel of everything you ever wanted. And you get to use it. And the more lead, like the more leverage you have, like a slingshot to just catapult you even farther. I have this theory that I developed over the last year, just kind of observing as client results get bigger and bigger and bigger, that all these things that you did that seemingly didn't have any effect and didn't work all those years, it's like you were planting seeds and building energy and you had this protective wall. But when it becomes safe and you no longer have to protect yourself from what you want, it's very common for what you want to come in really big and really fast because all that energy was building up just looking for a way to come in. That's how my client Leslie made $1.2 million hours after our session because it was wanting to come in all that time. I just saw Neela post, I am suddenly so sad, tears are running. And I do want to know what that sadness is. And then I see Gail is feeling sleepy. I actually have a very strong theory about what that is, which is that is fear, and that's okay. So something really important about how I coach and again, the change happens at the speed of safety. There is no rush. Meaning like when I coach a client, we start very, very gentle and I take as long as it takes to get as deep as we need to go for that individual to have the change. So I have had instances where it happened very easily and casually in a 15-minute conversation. And then Chris Galligan made over $100,000 in art sales in the next 24 hours. I've also had the situation where it took 8 hours with a client I'd actually coached before, but then she went on my retreat and I don't know why it took 8 hours. It was a very, very small retreat. So we had, whatever happens, it spans to fill out the time we have. It took 8 hours. And was there resistance? Sure. But resistance is always there for a reason. And all you can do is dance with it and make it safer and safer and safer and backtrack and then go forward and backtrack and make it go forward. But here's again the punchline. She made $1.2 million in the 2 months, unexpectedly, in the 2 months after the retreat. So do I like quick and easy? Sure. But all that matters is what is right for the individual and making it safe. There's never any pressure. So if you're feeling sleepy, to me, that sounds like, oh, the monster really wants to hold on. And that you have trauma, probably. I am guessing that isn't ready to, it doesn't want to be disturbed. So cut yourself some slack. Change happens at the speed of safety. If you're feeling sleepy, maybe you aren't feeling safe. I want you to be safe. Let me say that again. I want you to be safe. I do not want to force anything on you that will ever harm you. So the first step, I'm going to give you the 6 steps of the process. And honestly, I started getting all these clients. I was not marketing money at all. I started to come out of the prosperity closet a couple of years later after my coaching school wanted to know how I was using relationship coaching. And I was like, well, I'm coaching relationship with money and here's how. And the response from their newsletter was like, so huge. It's like, well, I guess there's a market for this. But I started testing it on clients who are hiring me for other stuff because, as I said, money tends to be the number one excuse people give for what they can't have, do, or be. So I was like, well, let me try this on them. And the first times it landed like a lead balloon, like splat. And I'm like, why didn't this work on you? In my head, not my mouth. And I had to figure out how to make it work. So I'm giving you the cliff notes of what I learned. So number 1, you uncover the root cause. And the root cause, as I said earlier, is not the money circumstance or the money story. It's what is behind the money story. See, money is just completely made up by human beings. It does not exist out there, right? We just decided to come up with this convenient measuring because it's very cumbersome to carry your cows around with you when you go to the market. So money isn't the thing, but we're really, really weird about money. Like nothing else. Like we will talk about sex in a loud voice on our phones in the market. How do I know? Because I've heard it. But what do you make? Ooh, that brings up, is it too much? Is it too little? What do they get? It's just, so here's why. The root cause is not money. The root cause is what money represents. And universally, money represents love, worth, and safety. Anything that has ever made you feel unlovable, unworthy, or unsafe is going to show up in your money relationship. Whether you are couch surfing and on public assistance, which I've coached, or a billionaire, which I've also coached. Whether it's the fear that you don't have enough now, or the fear that you're going to lose what you have and you won't have enough later. Or you have more than you ever imagined, and it's getting in the way of relationships. I had this fantastic client almost 20 years ago. I'm still good friends with her, Tara, who came into $22 million out of the blue unexpectedly. And it seemed like a fantastic thing. Up until then, she was an artist working hand to mouth as a makeup artist. And suddenly she came into this wild abundance and this is before she hired me. And she thought it was this great thing. She'd be this great philanthropist. And first thing that happened is her boyfriend of 15 years said, I'm never going to work again. And then he broke up with her and married somebody else. And she actually hired me because this was before I was, the money manifestation coach. She hired me to help her with love. And it took a few months to figure out that, wow, there was nothing wrong with her and her femininity and her, that wasn't where the problem was coming from. She had a money monster that got in the way of love. As soon as money showed up, men were intimidated by her. And we needed to slay that monster and create a new relationship with money. And as soon as we did that, she met this smoking hot Buddhism professor, and they've been together for 20 years. So if, the money drama shows up in different ways. on the ends of the spectrum and everywhere in between. Money represents love, worth, and safety. So anything that ever made you feel unlovable, unworthy, or unsafe will show up in your relationship with money. And unsafe, it could be an accident, it could be violence, it could be an illness, it could be worrying about what's going to happen in the world. What, any of that stuff that makes the world feel like an unsafe, uninviting place is going to shut you down and contract you. Anything that makes and make you feel unloved and it's so all tangled up together. So that's the root cause. So when we're uncovering, where does your money monster come from? Love, worth, and safety. When you do step number one, it's almost like you're building up a case against life. So I want you to take off your positive thinking hat and bury it in like a lead box 60 feet below the ground. You can have it afterwards. It will get in the way here. I want you to go for the victim experience. It's sacred. It's the fuel here. So as your coach in the moment, go for the victim experience. You do not have to go so deeply that you re-traumatize yourself. If you find yourself dissociating and shutting down, back off. This is why it can work more easily with another person holding space. I'm able to follow the energy and know, okay, back off. Okay, move forward. When you have what I call in my technical terms, a critical mass of ick, like, oh my God, this is so awful. I've been hurt so much. The rejection, the whatever your root cause is. It's usually abandonment. Yes, that would be it. Abandonment would be a huge one. It's usually some flavor of not enough, not good enough, not loved enough, not worthy enough. I had a client who her pattern was second best. She was the second favorite child, the second favorite friend, the person who always came in second. That just not good enough for whatever it is. Not lovable enough. I can't have that. I'm like, my nose is pressed against the glass and the feast is on the other side. That's step number one. When you have enough of the feeling, because it's not an intellectual exercise, I want you to feel it again, not to the point of damaging yourself. It's not necessary to get this to work. You don't have to get all of it. You just need to get enough to light up your neurology so we can rewire your brain. So when you have enough and it's like, ugh, then we jump to step number two, which is this wild leap of imagination that we imagine, that we blame it, that there's this outside imaginary person who has done all of this, who's responsible for all of it, even if all of it includes the transatlantic slave trade and the suffering of your ancestors. Even, just imagine there is some like very powerful, all bad mastermind behind every bad thing that ever happened to you and everything that you don't want in the world. And that is personifying the root cause into your money monster. And it's all bad. It can't be your parents and it can't be you. And that reason is going to be, Linda says, what if it's true? Let's take a look at that. Yeah, the husband's relationship with money and his fears are interfering with family relationships. Well, of course, the best thing you can do, starts with a V, LaDonna, ooh, beautiful name, is change your own relationship with money. This is such a cool thing that I've seen happen dozens and dozens of times. When my client changes his or her relationship with money, it affects the partner. And the partner's like, ooh, what's going on over there? It has a positive impact on relationships that are good relationships. There's sort of a spillover quality to it that can positively impact your spouse. But it's not your job to change your partner's relationship with money because you can't. We can only change ourselves. but you can steer him to my resources and he can go through the process on his own if he likes. Can our money monster be a real person from our past? I would say from your past, sure. And it's bigger than the person because the money monster almost has a superhuman quality to it. I would even say that sure, you can give it the flesh of that person, but just know that it's bigger than that person because it's also sort of like the puppet master who caused all the other pains. But if you have if that person isn't in your life and it creates like a spike of feeling, yes, you can do that. You can use that. So one of the tricks I love to do with clients is imagine the worst thing that has ever been said to you, or the worst thing the worst thing you've ever said to yourself, and put that in the mouth of your monster. And it's like the monster whispers it in your ear in your own voice to fool you. Because in step number 3, we're going to get rid of the monster, but we're not getting rid of you and we're not getting rid of your parents. Even if your parents were really, really monstrous. And I've coached clients who had parents who should be locked up. But I think it is too big a leap of imagination and not really healthy to enact step number 3 on parents, because they're not all bad. They may have given you life. Do we carry money monsters from parents, grandparents, or ancestors? Oh my God, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Use all the patterns from, intergenerational trauma. You get to dump it all in. I want you to have the biggest, baddest monster on the block. And because on step number 3, you're going to annihilate it. You're going to blow it up. I know that my audience is very love and light and spiritual, very often vegan. High five. I don't watch violent movies myself. And this is what I found works the best. So in step number 1, you're like really sinking into your victim experiences. You're like really heavy. Step number 3 is like that rising hot fire of slaying the monster. It's like we've got Durga in India, we've got Kali, we've got Saint Michael, we've got examples of the sacred warrior in every spiritual tradition. And I got my degree in religion from Smith College, and I did a lot on Hinduism and Buddhism, so I tend to go there. But it's like Kali is slaying ignorance. Durga is slaying the monster of darkness. You have this moment where you've got your monster and you've got you, and only one of you is going to survive. Because the monster's reason for being is to make you not want to live. And if it wins, it will destroy your life and finally destroy you. That's the natural outcome of the monster. So it's sort of like my mom was really big into Highlander. There can only be one. You have this moment of choice. Who do you choose, the monster or you? I recommend you choose you. And in the monster is every life experience that is no longer welcome in your life, that no longer has permission to be part of your life experience. There's this big moment of no. Or to quote Monty Python, thou shalt not pass. And so this is the moment where you've got this big, awful, all evil monster. And I didn't know this in the beginning when I was coaching this, but when I started to do this, that's when clients started getting the big bucks and just the big payoff of life experience right away, which is slay the monster by any means you can imagine. If you need a lightsaber or a flamethrower or a fiery pit or a Death Star or whatever, machete. I had a client who ran over her monster with a monster truck. I mean, whatever it takes so that the monster does not get to exist. And when it's gone, and just check energetically, is there anything left? Oh, there's a little bit of monster. Get rid of that. And don't leave any bloody bits. I don't want to hear about any like zombie monster reconstituting and coming back. When the monster is gone, that monster is gone forever. You can use a cosmic vacuum cleaner or sulfuric acid or whatever you like. It's so weird that I talk like this because I'm like, peace and light. So when it's completely gone and you feel this emptiness, and it will feel different than anything you've ever felt in your life. I've had a client on the other side of the country, in Norway, in fact, who, when we did this, the sun came out as soon as the monster was slayed, which is kind of amazing, right? So it can feel light, it can feel expansive, it can also feel scary. All of that's great. It's just different, and there's no monster left. And that is when we can now meet your money honey, because when you've slayed the monster and everything that is monstrous that it was in that monster, all that remains is love. That's all there is love. So your new relationship with money, which is a new relationship with life, is going to feel like love. So it's going to be a person. I find that someone who is a lover archetype tends to work best. So whatever your flavor, he, she, they, I don't care, who lights you up, there's something very healing about a lover, because lovers are equal. Money is not God or Oprah or Gandhi way up there and you're way down here. You can break your lover's heart and your lover loves you. And it also is reprogramming your relationship, your whole blueprint for romantic love. And it also helps you love yourself. There's just that juicy, oh my God, I love being alive feeling of romantic love. That said, I've coached many, many clients who have had such relationship trauma and maybe sexual trauma too, where that can be like, oh, not yet. Totally cool. Totally cool. Again, change happens at the speed of safety. Your money honey is safe. If your money honey is a romantic partner, your money honey respects your boundaries and you set the pace. You're also not going to be having any physical intimacy with your imaginary friend, but it can light you up and turn you on. And if you're in a relationship with a human honey, there are benefits for the human honey when you're lit up and turned on and feeling beautiful and luscious. But if a romantic partner is not a good choice for you now, I trust you to know that. I am not teaching anybody to go against what is right for you. Okay? So for everything that I say works, which is really based on my experience coaching thousands of people, every coaching session I've ever had has been totally unique. And I've learned something new. And it enriches, and I can see where, oh, if we need to make an accommodation here to make it work, we're going to make an accommodation here to make it work. Because every process, and not just me, I want you to take this with you for life. Every process and program must serve you. You do not serve the process or program. The test is, does this fit you? Don't try to fit into something that doesn't fit you. And if it doesn't fit, then we have to just loosen it up and then find what fits for you, because you get to be you. So back to you meet your money honey loves you. You feel safe. You want to be with this person. This money wants to be with you in a huge way. Step number 5. Step 4 was meeting the money honey. Step number 5 is now have that conversation. What do you need from me to allow you? Because you have the body, you have the power. What, money honey, what do you need from me to allow you to be with me the way I feel you want to be with me? And you will get an answer. The answer is probably going to be something great, spot on, and totally aspirational. Like, I want you to love yourself, or I want you to trust me, or I want you to relax. Great. Well, and by the way, no woman wants to be told to relax. I have a client who keeps hearing that from her money honey and it pisses her off. Great. And to date, I am not aware of any human being who has successfully loved themselves 24/7 for the rest of their lives. We do to the best we can, but I don't want anything like this to be another thing to beat yourself up with. So money will give you this feedback of what money needs. I need you to value yourself more. That comes up for me all the time, even now, 20 years later, because I'm still growing, right? So that's not the final step. The final step is 6 is action. Now we break it down into something you can actually do. And I could call you on a Thursday and you could tell me that you did it or didn't. Like for me, it was like, well, when a client comes to me, at the time, it was very kind of fuzzy and I didn't really have these steps worked out, but my action was letting people hire me. I might not favor that today because that sort of depended on the action of somebody else coming to me. So now would be like, what could you actually do and know you can do to demonstrate to yourself and your money honey that you are in this new relationship? And maybe that looks like something to do with money, like doing your taxes. But very, very often it doesn't look like it has anything to do with money. I had a client back in 2007 whose money honey wanted him to take his son to Paris. She said to him, you know, it's okay to spend money, but spend money on things worthy of me, like going to Paris. And his money honey also happened to be an imaginary French woman. And the funny thing there is he out of the blue made $1.6 million over the next 2 months. So, and there's Katie Curtin, who I talk about a lot in Toronto. Her money honey wanted her to go skating and she put it off the first day and nothing changed because you're so worried about money. It's working so hard to make money. So she didn't do it. And the second day she, worried about money, trying to make money, didn't go skating. Third day she went skating with her 10-year-old son. They had this huge heart opening, wonderful connection. They had a great time. She got home, got a phone call offering her $10,000 without even asking for it. So disclosure, I never know what will happen, when it will happen, how much will happen. I'm just sort of a queen of coincidence and people tell me what happened and I'm like, whoa, holy heck, how did that happen? That's amazing. Let me throw it up on my wall of fame. But what I do know is that when you change your relationship with money and you take that action, you feel better about yourself because you kept your word. And it's a relationship with life, and the money manifestation happens, but it happens sort of like the side dish or the dessert to this feast of life. So it's pretty usual for my client to not mention the money thing until the last 5 minutes of our coaching call. Oh, I forgot. Because it's when you're not scared about money and you're living in abundance, it's not your obsession anymore because you're so full of love and life. That said, I love the money manifestations. They're lots of fun. They're really useful and they're great for my marketing. So let me know about them, but also let me know about everything else because this is how I create the world I want to live in. Is I've seen so many people who are like my client Athena. When she hired me, I was like screaming inside because her circumstances were so dramatic and dire. And I had this, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I don't know how to solve this. And my money honey said, shut up. She's an adult, let her make her choice. She had already heard me speak. She had already slayed a money monster, had this great money honey who told her to hire me. When she hired me and we slayed a deeper level of monster and she had a deeper relationship with money, her mortgage company called her up, offered to pay off all her credit card debt and lower her mortgage payments. That was the first weird thing that happened. We continued to work together, and within 4 months, she was making tens of thousands of dollars working part-time and taking money moons down to Miami. This is somebody who was struggling charging $100 an hour here and there, mountains of debt, two small kids, no way out. So the gift of coaching, as any healer knows, is that we get to witness over and over again that the impossible happens daily. And again, if you are in that scared, desperate place, I would say use it. Use it. Make it into a really, really bad monster and annihilate the monster. And when the monster is gone, then you get to meet this money honey who may feel like he, she, or they have been waiting for you for years, wanting to be with you, and finally so happy to finally get to be with you. And from a scientific standpoint, what's going on, because one of my clients is a neuroscientist. How fun is that? When you slay the monster and you replace the monster with your money honey, because we never ever get rid of anything, no matter how terrible, without replacing it with something far better. That's another rule of change that I operate by. You're calming that poor, overworked, reactive, frightened reptile limbic brain. And when we're frightened, our intelligence goes down. When emotion gets high, if any emotion gets really high, our intelligence goes down. So we want to calm this down, give the reptile reactive brain the day off. And what happens is the frontal lobe, the genius zone, wakes up. And that's where your genius is, your creativity, your resourcefulness, where you and your money honey can sit on the couch cuddling, looking at whatever drama is going on in your life as if you're watching some really gripping HBO show together as a couple. And your money honey can take a look at the circumstances, but your money honey looks at the circumstances without your fears and your scarcity and your limitations and your neuroses that you used to have with your monster. And now through the eyes of your money honey, you can see, oh, there are some opportunities here. I have some choices. And you get to see things that you didn't see before, including yourself, through the eyes of your money honey. So those are the 6 steps. And let's take a look at what do you want to know? How can I serve you? Here's a question. Is money honey different than husband? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you about mine. So I've had my money honey 10 years before I met my husband. And my love pain, I have been looking for my guy since I chased Brian Patterson under the piano at his 5th birthday, and he was the older man. So I looked for a long time, and I was 45 when I finally, in 2012, I'm 57 now. I was 45 when I had been teaching this money honey stuff for 9 years. And I was starting to have the thought that, wow, what I'm saying about money sounds a lot like my love life. I've taken every class, I've worked with every coach. I'm already doing everything they tell me to do. And I'm just getting rejected. And I'm always attracting the unavailable man. And something's up. I wonder what's going on inside of me that I don't know about that's pushing away love. So I slayed a love monster. And I just, all the betrayals that I knew about at the time, of parents rejecting me, friends rejecting me, boys rejecting me, ballet companies rejecting me, like all of it, just everything that I loved that broke my heart, just like love was some scam to set me up, to knock me down, to make me not want to live and want to die. And it was doing a really good job. And I made it into the biggest monster I had ever had. It was like as big as the world. And I did whatever I needed to do to annihilate that monster. And I met a guy 2 months later who I am now married to 26 times in 21 countries. married for the first time in my life at 47 and making up for lost time with lots of weddings in lots of countries. He came up with the idea, let's get married 100 times in 100 countries.
That's so cool.
You're welcome to steal it. It's great. It's like, it's forcing yourself. It sounds fun and easy, but honestly, traveling is work. And plus I have to pack, you know, a little white dress and a wedding veil and kitten heels and all that, right? You know, but what it is, and it's, you know, sometimes we've been married in castles. We were married by the government of Turkey, where they gave us costumes, and I rode in on a horse, and the Minister of Culture married us. We've had some really wild, and we got married in San Marino, the Republic of San Marino in Italy, and they knighted my husband afterwards. So we had some pretty wild weddings. And then we've also had like walking sweaty and dirty, walking into a Mexican cathedral in our flip-flops and after a massage exchanging rings. That was how it all started. Was our second wedding. We were in Puerto Vallarta. My husband is a travel writer, so he got an assignment and got them to let me come, and we called that our honeymoon.
That's so cool.
And the second wedding just landed so deep in me, so much deeper, that he got the idea, we have to keep doing this. We have to keep taking time out of life to create this moment to say, you're the most important person to me, most important thing to me. And also, because of all the rejection of my childhood, I'm a very needy person. I am. That's one of like the 100 reasons that I have for why I'm unlovable and nobody was ever going to be with me, right? And my husband, it has picked up, you know, that, oh, my wife is a needy person. Maybe if I marry her 100 times, she'll get the clue that I like her, right?
Oh. Oh.
So, okay. My money honey is not my husband, because my husband gets to be human. That said, when we first got married and we were exchanging our vows, and he proposed to me while I was in Bali. I had just finished my retreat. He was in South Africa shooting animals with a camera, not a gun. And he Skyped me and proposed marriage, which I did not see coming. I just sort of knew. I knew at some point early on, oh, this is the one. And when he asks, I'll say yes. And I thought, I think I have 4 years, because he doesn't believe in marriage. And I'm not feeling insecure. Things are great the way they are. And he ruined everything by proposing marriage 18 months when I wasn't ready for it. And all of my own like commitment issues came up. But I had already decided. So I said yes. I flew home, picked him up the next day. We got married and went ring shopping the next day. And so he had said to me when I was in Bali, make a list of what you want for the other person. But I heard what you want from the person. So I had my shopping list of all the things I wanted from him in my wedding vows. And then he had his list of all the things he wanted for me. And I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm so embarrassed. But the thing is that when he was saying the things he wanted for me, I could see my money honey like standing behind him laughing, because my husband was saying the same shit that my money honey would say to me.
Oh.
And it was like they were ganging up on me with love. So if you have a husband, wife, yay, great, especially if it's a good relationship. What I have heard from clients, especially I've had a lot of clients whose, you know, marriages were really rocky, or one person had a foot out the door, sometimes financial security, sometimes other things. There was Kristen Kankler, I think her name is, wrote me just like the greatest letter. It's on my website, so I'm not breaking any kind of confidentiality. Wrote that her money honey she was able to get things from her money honey that were not her husband's job to give her. Like that kind of unconditional acceptance and love. That when she realized I don't know that that's what she meant specifically. I'm just kind of what she said was that it removes some of the pressure on her husband. So he didn't feel like he wasn't measuring up anymore. And in response, he became so much loving, so much more loving. And the relationship, just got so much better. I had another client from the state of Washington who, when we slayed the money monster and we wanted to know what her money honey needed from her, he wanted her to improve her relationship with her husband. So she had been the breadwinner and putting all this pressure on him, and she sort of backed off and believed in him, and he made more in the next 2 months than he had made in a year.
Wow.
And she said she discovered uh the intrinsic power of her love. And there's something about just that feeling of safety really changes the way we show up. We deserve to be safe. Are there dangers in the world? Yeah, let's not pretend that they aren't there. That's not helpful. How do we how how do we relate to them? How do we use them? How can we get back to our center? I love the tarot wheel of fortune, where when you're on the end, you're just holding on for life and you're going way up and way down, and it's really dramatic. But if you get to the center of the wheel, that's where the quiet is. And it's our job to get to the center of the wheel of our life when things get dramatic, because that's where the quiet is. That's where our wisdom is. And that's where we get to connect with whatever our source is,
Like the eye
and
of,
feel safe and make better choices and get better results.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
the eye of the storm.
yeah, totally. So much information that you've shared with us today. I know everybody's really loving the 6 steps and the money monster. It really changes the whole energy behind money, from just the beginning of how you described it and how we can look at it. So thank you for that. There's
Can
lots of
I quickly say to
Mhm.
Barbara, because Barbara is yawning? Here's what I'm going to suggest to you, Barbara. Is what I'm sharing may be overwhelming your conscious mind, which is fantastic. What I am saying, I want it to be going to your unconscious, because personifying money and everything that I've described here today is a way for your conscious mind to communicate with your unconscious, so that your unconscious and you are on the same team and heading in the same direction. It's like you're the captain of a ship and your unconscious is the crew. The crew decides where you're going to go. So when I'm speaking to you, I'm teaching how to make your unconscious safe with money, so that your unconscious will receive everything that you need, so that you can draw it back and share and shift easily, make all the necessary connections, so that you can free yourself of your money monster, and you can be loved by money. Thank you for letting me put that in there, Gretchen.
Welcome. Yeah, we have people that have their hands raised, so we can talk to
Great.
some of them. But this one question from Linda's, I think, really important. Linda says, "How do we stay centered when we have been stolen from, betrayed, and deceived?"
Great question. Use stolen from, betrayed, and deceived. Those are wounds of not being valued, not being safe, not being loved. So start by staring into the abyss. That's the root cause. Step number 1, start where you are. Positive thinking when you've got a gaping wound is not kind or loving to you. Use what is real. If you have a problem, there's again, if change, it's making the change safe. So you can't Deny what's there. You cannot, if you're living in your car, you're living in your car. And just saying to yourself, I'm a wealthy person, just feels like lying and makes you feel worse. So what I want you to do is I want you to use betrayed, deceived, brokenhearted, what those words were that you used, I don't remember. But start there and make a case of how bad that is, and then create your money monster and make the money monster the personification of the harm that has been done, of just the unsafety in the world. And by the way, if you want to call it a life monster, you can. If you want to call it a God monster, you can. If you want to call it I had a client who she had had a money breakthrough with me years earlier, and then in 2022 she wanted to go on my goddess retreat because she was unexpectedly exposed to mold in a dry part of the country, and it was so devastating, this mold poisoning from opening up a cabinet, that she was going blind. And she had tremors and she couldn't balance. And she went on this retreat with me because she wanted to slay her mold monster. I have had clients who have had spontaneous healings while we're slaying the money monster since I began this, but I never, and I can't promise, I was terrified. I was so terrified that I was going to cause her harm. But she knew she wanted me to coach her. So I said yes. And I said, I will do that. I don't know if I can help. I'll do the best I can. And we slayed her mold monster. And we put all of the rejection, the childhood, the parents, the everything that made her feel unworthy, unsafe, unloved, all of that into the mold monster, and the medical system and the disease that was trying to kill her, and all of that. And we slayed that. We replaced it with an abundance and what was it? I think it was a love and vitality, or abundance and vitality. Their vitality was in there, honey. And over the next weeks, her eyesight came back and improved so much she had to get rid of the neurological glasses. I just heard from her on Easter. She texted me. One of the next things that happened, which is the normal sequence of things, is when she was healthy, she wanted love. So now she fell in love and was traveling the country with her partner because she was healthy. And I heard from her on Easter. She's playing badminton. She's creating a sanctuary for mold warriors.
Wow.
For other people like her. So what prompted that? I'm trying to remember.
That she can use it for anything.
Yes. And how do you get to center? I would say face the obstacle. You cannot skip the monster. I know that because I tried with a client. It didn't work. So we backtracked. The monster is like a sacred portal. It's an initiation. So you've already been betrayed. You've already been deceived. You've already been through it. Use it. Make it, personify it. It's bigger than the person or people who did it. Annihilate it. Choose yourself. Choose what is no longer acceptable in your life experience. Now have a completely new relationship with life, and give that personhood and talk to that person. Pour out your heart to that person. Ask the questions and then just wait for the answer. And here's the thing about asking the questions. Anybody with any familiarity with intuition, which I assume is virtually everybody here, knows that it doesn't respond well to interrogation. You cannot shine an interrogation light on your money, honey, and say, tell me. Never going to happen that way. But what happens is you get that, still small voice in the back of your head that comes so quick and softly that you want to pretend you didn't hear it. Or maybe you see a picture, or you have a thought or something. And what you do is you just go, what about this? And then you see how your money honey responds. And your money honey respond may be like, no, yeah, and you're waiting for that woo, that the turn on, the light up, the excitement. And it may be something scary. but it has but that kind of feeling of your money honey saying, but you're up to it. You're so much bigger than you think you are. You can do this. This move to the new house. I said yes, because my money honey was giving me this incredible gift. And how would it make him feel if I rejected it? It's like an invitation to my future self. So there's fear, there's some effort, packing. I love where I live. I love where I live. I know where I live. I know this other neighborhood. I've lived there before and I loved it too. But I'm giving up a lot here. And yet it's the invitation. And I know from experience it has that, holy heck, there's something really big wanting to happen. And my container needs to be big. And I have to say yes. Not because I'll be a bad person if I don't, but I will break my money honey's heart. And that's not the relationship that I want. What else do we have?
Very cool. Well, let's talk to somebody.
Great.
All right, awesome. Natasha, you are up. You can unmute yourself, Natasha.
Oh, can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can. Welcome.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for taking my call. Okay, I have the trifecta. I have worthiness issues and the other two as well. And it makes sense why there have been so many loops. So I was wondering if you could offer me an advice or tune into my field or something.
Can you say what the issue is again? I'm not sure if I heard the word.
Oh, well, before you mentioned worth, love, and safety.
Okay,
And
got
abandonment.
it.
So all of those really, like it's probably under the umbrella of abandonment.
Yeah,
And it deals with relationships and just everything.
yeah.
So there's
Because
just a lot of blocks.
yeah, well, so when I hear the word blocks,
Okay. Yep.
blocks are protection.
Yes. Okay.
Blocks, yeah, so we may hate blocks, right? But they're also they're also protectors, and they're kind of there because they love you, but they're behaving very clumsily. I'm going to do something because I've kind of laid out the process, and I don't know how long it would take to get you to the place to slay your monster. So I'm not actually going to do that with you right here, but I have something else that what is coming through for me
Yes.
is I want compassion. So you have the abandonment. By the way, so
Yes.
do I. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Me too.
do after this, I definitely do want you to slay your abandonment monster. And you can call it a love monster, you can call it a money monster. It's whatever will be most useful for you and what you want to accomplish in the moment.
Okay.
And anytime you slay a money monster, by the way, you're also slaying a love monster. Anytime you slay a love monster, it's also going to affect your money. It's great. And I just, which has a little more energy in the moment. And that's just the direction we go. So I want you to imagine, let's bring your blocks in the room as if your blocks are a person. And this is not a monster person, because the block is here to protect you, right? Change happens at the speed of safety, and if it's not happening, something isn't safe. So your blocks are your friends. So I want you to bring them in the room.
Okay.
And how old are they?
I would say they probably started when I was an infant.
Okay, so
Or past life stuff, but definitely very, very young with the
okay,
safety stuff.
great. So if your blocks are now people
Yeah.
who are kind of like operating and taking over the bus for Natasha to keep her safe. Okay,
Yeah.
what if and you're looking and they're like they're in the room with you. Let's say how many? Let's say 3.
I'd say at least 3 to 5, but 3
Okay.
probably.
You can
Yeah.
okay, let's bring all of them in.
Okay.
So they're people, they're on Team Natasha. What age are they?
They'd probably be older than me. Like I'd probably look at them as authority, maybe, to keep me safe. I don't know that they'd be the same age as like infant me or little
I
me.
don't think, yeah, infants don't have a lot of resources for creating safety. So, and by the way, they might be multiple ages.
Yeah, probably. I
Okay.
mean, with what I'm going through now versus as a kid, like
Yeah,
it's the same
let's,
umbrella, but different stuff.
so let's shrink it down to three because it's just easier to see three people than five people.
Okay.
And let's call them block A, block B, block C. And I want you
Okay.
to see each of them distinctly. And each one has a gender, each one has an age, each one is dressed a specific way. They're just people and they're on your team.
Okay. I guess maybe they would all be, well, I don't know. I was going to say they would all be female, but maybe not. Maybe there would be one male in there.
Great,
Um,
great. So what do they want for you?
they want me to be in control or to have the perception that I'm in control because things are so chaotic out,
Yeah.
like in the outer world. But that just keeps me stuck, I think.
So I
I think
want you
it's
to
a
feel how
control
much
thing.
they love you.
I guess they do.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a weird way, like it's kind of a twisted love, but I suppose that could be love.
Well, at least one of them I think is pretty young.
Okay.
And what happens when we've been traumatized is we kind of split up into pieces inside. So
Uh,
there's grown-up
okay.
Natasha who faces the world, but you have a bunch of secret selves whose
Yeah,
job is to protect Natasha. And let's actually make all your blocks just into one block person because that's easiest to relate to.
yeah,
So this is a person on your team. This is a person who was formed much younger and actually did do a really good job of keeping you alive because you're here now.
true. Yeah,
And just like I had a pair of beautiful red patent leather Dorothy Wizard of Oz shoes, Mary Jane's, when I was 5 years old, that were my favorite shoes. They fit then. I loved them then. I'm 57 now. There's no way that I could get my 57-year-old foot into that shoe now because it no longer fits. Right?
yes,
So you have your block self who is taking over and driving the bus to protect you. And this is from a much younger time in your life.
yeah.
So I want you to take a look at her now.
And what she looks like, the
Yeah.
block.
Or feels like. If you're not, if visualization is getting you into your head and you're struggling with it, I want you to feel her essence. Start with the feeling, okay?
Well,
You're doing
okay. The
great.
first thing that came through was, and this is strange because it doesn't make any logical sense, but like a gentleness. Like it's almost like the block is trying to, in its own way, gently protect me
Yeah,
by keeping me apart from things,
yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes sense. But that's what I got.
Totally. Totally. Yes. Yeah, no, I think she has a very loving energy. Now, what she wants to do is very, very worthy. But because she comes from a much younger time in your life, she's really not equipped to, she doesn't have the best strategies. So she's doing kind of a clumsy job
Yeah.
with the best intentions. And what does she need? Because I have this feeling that she's like kind of tired
Probably,
being a
yes.
little girl driving a grown-up bus. And she would really like to let go and let you take over. But what does she need to let
feel
you take over?
I think that's where the safety comes in, like to feel
Mm.
safe. But how can I feel safe if there's all of this like old residue that is really sticky and doesn't want to leave? Because I've tried different processes.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, everybody has old residue, including me.
Okay.
That's just life, and it doesn't have to stop you. We all
Okay.
have our life issue. I have a great friend, another coach named Michael Stratford. He's one of the original coaches. We go way, way, way back. So think of, those sugar cones where it's like pointy at the bottom and it's bigger and rounder at the top.
Yeah.
The cone. Okay, so at the bottom, that's your life issue. That's your wound or your life lesson or whatever we want to call it.
Okay.
And what happens is as you grow and evolve and gain skills and resources and tools, you spiral up and up and up. So let's say your life issue is here. When you're at the bottom, you're in it all the time. And when you start, you're in it almost all the time. But as you grow and go up the spiral, you spend less time in the wound and more time out of it, but you will circle back to get a new lesson, a new tool, a new evolution. So the goal, the game, is not perfection.
Mhm.
It's to spend less time in the wound and get more value from each circle. Oh, there's my issue. Value myself, I think, is probably mine. Ouch, there I am again. What do I need to do? Okay. And then you come out of it. And every time you do it, that's like my speed drive for big manifestation is
Okay.
like, heck, I've got a wound. Ouch. Damn, I have to do this again. And I do it with my whole heart. And then boom, something huge that I never saw coming, good comes. So you do not need to rid yourself of your life experience. It's your treasure. It's what softens you, what makes you human. It's what gives you, what can give you the capacity to respect the pain of other people. And we also
Okay.
don't want you to live there. So you're getting a message from this block self who wants to get your attention. And she's very loud about it because that's how she gets your attention.
Yeah.
What do you need to learn here? Ask her, what do you need to learn here so that you can give up the struggle? So that you don't. So I'm not even going to say give up because I hate that. That's such a judgy way of phrasing it. So erase
Yeah.
that. Bleh.
Surrender.
Yeah, no, no, no. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
no, no,
That's
no, no.
worse.
I hate any language that is judgy. That's not
Okay.
helpful at all. What is the question that I asked? Let's go back. I
Which
would
way?
ask, Money Honey, what do I need to learn here so that I can let go of this struggle? Because I'm
The
holding on to it
Well, the first thing
unintentionally.
I got was to move forward, but it's hard to move forward when all of this stuff is happening in the 3D. But I guess to move forward without letting it hinder me
Well,
somehow.
here's a big hint on moving forward. Baby steps.
Oh,
What would be the tiniest move forward that you could possibly do today?
well, I've actually done it. I've started doing it. I've just been clearing things away to
Oh, I
create
love that.
space for the new. I've been doing that for the last few days.
And how does that make her feel?
It actually feels good, really good.
Okay. And how is she responding when you do it? Look at her face.
I mean, it's positive.
Good,
I feel
good,
it's
good,
the
good.
right direction.
Yeah,
Um, it, it's
that's
it is
all there
but it's a baby
is.
step though.
That's all that exists in the world is direction. So
Okay.
the fastest way to the biggest goal is the tiniest baby steps
Okay.
because baby steps, you accomplish them, you get a sense of accomplishment, it builds confidence, it builds momentum. And baby steps get bigger without you even noticing.
Okay. I
We
believe that.
psych ourselves out by demanding these really big steps that create all sorts of fear and resistance inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
So baby steps. I was just not feeling the energy of monster slaying in this moment with you.
Oh, it's because that sounds very aggressive to me. I like gentle, but I probably need to do that. I
Well,
just like really
we
gentle
could do it,
healing.
but I think with you, I would need to go really, really slow to make it safe, and we don't have 8 hours on this
Yeah,
call. So I
that's
wanted
right.
to go in a different direction, which is also very, very helpful and valid. There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with you what you need is what you need.
Yeah, it seems
That
to be a
doesn't make
theme.
you wrong. It doesn't make you bad. It's what you need is simply what you need.
Yeah, I guess so. It's what resonates. And
Yeah.
when you mentioned the 8 hours with somebody else, I was thinking I would probably need 8 hours because there's something with me. I just need gentle, slow processes for some reason. But
Well, here's the funny thing is I am like 100% unable to predict.
oh, okay.
The people who I thought would be the easiest, or the two people who were the longest I've ever done were people I really thought would be the easiest. People
Oh,
who I think might be really, really hard can be super quick and easy. I have zero ability to know ahead of time. So it could be really quick and easy with you. I can't know, but I was just feeling at this moment,
yeah. Okay.
this is not also, I think, yeah, I would know, I would want to go slow with you. Once it opens up, it can just really pour out and be really easy.
Yeah.
Uh, and I just felt like such a strong sense of compassion for
Mm,
your sweet-hearted block who loves you. Now, here's the great news is you don't have to reject your blocks. You don't have to make her bad. But what she really wants is she just wants to, what does she really want to do instead of managing your life
yeah.
and stopping things and making you upset? What would she really rather be doing?
Well, freedom, just being free,
Okay,
playing,
so playing, where does she want to
yeah.
play?
Lightness, just letting go of all the heaviness of this reality and just being free and light. That's what I actually feel is most important for my being. It's
Yeah.
just there's been a lot of lessons along the way.
Yeah. So I love that you said this reality because that implies that there are multiple realities.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so I've had my excursions into what I call hyper reality, which is this kind of whoa, non-duality, just like the Buddha talked about. This is awesome.
Uh-huh.
And last time I had a really big one of those moments. No drugs. I don't need drugs. It just kind of happens on its own when it wants to. I also got a really strong sense that this physical reality also deserves respect and is also real. Um, because it's like my project while I'm here. So a lot of compassion for the experiences and limitations of this reality too. Uh, what would be I I do have I put together a very specific and unique bundle of products for this group that's not available on my website at an insane reduction just because I really want it to be available to anybody who wants. And we will get to that at some point in our conversation here. The reason I did that is because what I share is different and there's really not, you're going to miss a lot of nuances the first time. By the way, if the recordings are like made available, I think that's a good idea too. But so I have some tools to help you do this again at your own pace without the pressure of, oh my God, I only have Morgana right now. And of course, I also have coaching available, and I have my annual Money Goddess retreat in Bali, open to only 6 women at a time. But I had a quick start one-on-one call with one woman who was going to go with me to Bali. And I had this quick start call last year when she made a purchase of something else. But she wanted to go to Bali. So we used the quick start to like help her come up with the money to go with me to Bali. And then I got an email from her yesterday that she's not going with me to Bali because she's made more money in her business than she has ever. So she doesn't need to go on the retreat for Bali, but she wants to hire me privately. So I've got a spot that opened up.
Huh.
So that is, that's a possibility. But also, I really try to make just gentle, easy self-coaching, self-guided stuff available, so that there's a place for everybody to start. I want you to listen to your block friend here, because she wants to move on too and take a break and go play.
Yeah.
And she loves you. So what does she need from you? You said move forward. Is
Yeah.
there any other specifics that she has for you? Because she has wisdom for you and she's on your team and she loves you. What does she need from you to let her loosen up her death grip and feel safe to go play?
Well, I mean, I guess it's always the same thing. It's forgiving, letting go, moving forward.
Let's focus on forgiving because that came up first.
Yeah, I mean, it's been ongoing. I've been doing a lot of work with that. However, I guess there's just deeper layers, and I don't know if it's forgiving myself. There's certainly other people that I've worked on forgiving.
I would suggest that the only person who ever needs to be forgiven is yourself.
Okay.
And here's why. When you forgive yourself and when you forgive yourself for allowing things to happen to yourself, whether you had the power or not, but when you forgive yourself for the pain and the betrayal and the hurt, and you come into, here's my philosophy on forgiveness. It's not healthy to forgive somebody who is actively abusing you. That's just weird. And there should never be any pressure on you to forgive other people. What, in my experience, happens is when you know that when you forgive yourself and you know that you can use anything that has ever happened to you and use it for your own empowerment and use it for your own exaltation and use it to know yourself as love and love yourself. When you can forgive yourself and know that you will never let that happen to you again, and you can trust yourself, because the person who needs your trust more than anybody is you. When you trust yourself to protect yourself and not allow that person to hurt you anymore, what naturally happens, the more safe you become and the more distant you become from the danger, is that danger and that hurt loses energy. And over time, the forgiveness happens organically. It does not need to be forced. So I would just allow that when you forgive yourself, the other forgivenesses will follow.
Okay.
Naturally. They do not have to be on your to-do list. They don't make you a better person.
I think that's a big thing, because when you said that, all this emotion welled up when you said trust. So I guess maybe that's the big monster or something. Seemed to be
Well, the
pretty
monster is what has made the world unsafe.
so it's a lack of trust in the world, I guess.
For good reason. You're
Yeah.
not insane. You're not protecting yourself for no reason. You have
Yeah.
plenty of very good reason for the world to not be safe. So use it and make that your monster, and then show that monster what's what and destroy it and eradicate it. And then start over.
Okay.
Okay? That's your
Yeah.
homework assignment.
I think that's the word, trust. Thank you. That was
Awesome.
it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Good
Okay.
job.
Great.
Thank you. I think it helped a lot of people. I just saw Linda said that helped me.
Good.
Lots of hearts. Holy moly, look at them flying. All right, guys. So if you want to work with Morgana, if you want to work through her products in a deeper way than even what she's given us here today, which has been absolutely amazing, she has, as she said, put together an offer for our community. If you go to lifereawakened.com/Morgana24, you can check it out. Donna said she already signed up. So you can also click here on the link that I put in. And I'm going to share my screen, Morgana, if that's okay. So you can quickly walk
Beautiful.
through
Yeah.
this and
So
let us.
this is not something that you will find on my website. And this is something I put together specifically for this group. So it actually helps to have it in front of me, because it's not something that I sell ordinarily. But so what is included is first my ebook, which is different from the book I sell on Amazon, which is kind of a hybrid of a book and a self-coaching workbook. But this, what I love about this ebook is it walks you through the 6 steps of the process. And if you're like me, I learn linear and I'm also visual. So all this auditory thing goes in one ear and out the other. I'm kinesthetic, so I feel the vibes, but I'm visual and I like to read it and I like to go back to where I want to, where I'm stuck. So this walks you through the 6 steps. And then I have a transcript of an actual live coaching session that I did through the Money Monster and the Money Honey. And what you'll notice from that, there was this funny moment where the client's Money Honey was Jesus. And I'm sorry that I'm giving a spoiler alert. I'm sorry. But so it's Jesus. And I say, is it a sexy Jesus? And she says, no. So it ended up being Antonio Banderas, which felt more real and more connected and more in love with her and juicier. And that's when she got the transformation and the results after the coaching session. I do sell that, but that's included. So then I have my Money, Love, and Magic Roundtable. When I first wrote my book, I rounded up like my biggest personal development celebrity friends who I admire. And we spent 3 days. It's a 3-part panel. The first day was all about money. And the second day is all about love and all about magic and how to manifest them and how they interrelate. And I just found it so incredibly inspiring that I saved it, and I do sell it occasionally for $700, but that's included here because now you're getting a bunch of master teachers, but it's not a 30-day thing. It's like really condensed in gems. Limiting belief obliterator. That is one of my, like the financial alchemy process, I consider like one of the big tools. The limiting belief obliterator is another one of those. This is a hypnotic process. Do not do it while driving, please, or flying airplanes or any of that. Be in a quiet, safe place. What we do is we go back in time, and this is really useful for any negative pattern. We go back to the originating cause in this life or a prior life before it ever happened, and we go and we change the past because it's neuroplasticity and your imagination can't tell the difference, but you extract the positive lesson so that you no longer have to repeat it, and we change. Then we test it out and we rehearse it in the past, and then we test it and test it again, and then we rehearse it for the future. And when I first did this process, I had my biggest out of body. Oh my God, I'm in non-duality. I suddenly understand, the reason for pain and reincarnation and it all, after all those years of studying it in college, it never made sense until I had that like true non-dualistic experience, and I got it from this process. Then for fun, I have money, likes, and dislike checklists, which I don't offer anywhere else. Because money There's a feeling to your money, honey. Like years ago, there was this guy who was on a live Q&A call, and he was telling me about his money, honey, but his money, honey was so negative and judgy. And it wasn't a money, honey. It was just another monster in a cute dress. There is a feeling of the money, honey, that feels expansive. And there are certain things that money likes. How do you make money happy? Will always come back to anything that values you. How do you turn money off? Is devaluing yourself or taking money for granted. So I have a quick checklist of the, number one pros and cons, things that repel money, things that attract money, that I've compiled from years and years and years of coaching clients. And then the evolution accelerator, super witchy and magic. I learned this as casting a spell, like over 20 years ago. It's why I'm not an actress now, was because I got exactly what I asked for, and I realized, oh, that's not what I want. So I teach you how to graduate from the life lesson that you could write the dissertation on, and you just don't need to repeat of illness or broken heart or scarcity, and replace it with the lessons that you want that will move you forward, but also frame it in a way that the lesson is safe. The first time I did it, I was an actress. I sacrificed the lessons of obscurity and requested the lessons of fame. And I quit acting within a year because the lessons of fame were not lessons I wanted.
Mm.
I just kind of packed this with three of, my biggest, most magical coaching toys. And then, as you noticed, there's a nuance that is unique to every single person that can't be conveyed just by my telling you the steps and telling you my stories. Something completely different comes up when anybody live actually talks to me. So I am including a recording of a 90-minute laser coaching call where dozens of people showed up with really compelling questions and unique situations, many of which I had never encountered before, which is where the good stuff is born. And it's really funny because from these little laser coaching adjustments, interesting things happen. In this case, Chris Clavio, he was the one who had the money monster in the cute dress. When we got rid of that monster, and he had a new money honey who he said felt so much more real, he made $10,000 within the next 24 hours, which is a really common manifestation. So I think that's really the most valuable piece, because that's where you get to see it in action with when people bring in what it's like when you actually do the process and you discover your own unique obstacle. Everybody has one. Yay.
Mhm.
Because we're different, and that's what just enriches transformation and creates ripples that positively impact everybody else. We all evolve together. So the value of all of this packed together, if we were to break it down into pieces, is literally $1,853.80. I kid you not. For you, it's $147 because that is doable for anybody who really wants it. I want you to feel it. I want you to feel like you are taking, that you have faith in yourself and that you are investing in yourself and you're stretching enough to actually feel it, but not enough to keep you from doing this if this is what you want.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with our community. Lots of people are commenting that I see that you put the link back in there. Thank you so much. Trust and self forgiveness. Everyone's asking for the link. So that's awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, I took up way more time than I promised that I would with you, Morgana, but what you've given us today is truly such a gift. There's just so much. Guys, I know I don't have to tell you this. Go back, listen to this replay once, twice. If you buy the program, the replays included with it, so you can listen to it as often as you can. This is such amazing, amazing information you gave us today, Morgana. I am so appreciative and grateful for everything you did today.
My pleasure. Thank you for being with me. It's such a delight to have questions to respond to. And yeah, thank you for playing and participating.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Let's show Morgana our love and our gratitude. Show her, let's throw her some hearts so she knows how grateful we are for having her here with us today. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks again, Morgana. And thank you all so much for being here. Bye-bye. Bye.